welcome back to the A Traveling Knitter channel. My name is Steph and I am talking to you from Columbus, Ohio in the United States. This video is going to be just some tips or suggestions on gift knitting. So it's not a normal podcast, it is some suggested patterns or projects for quick gift knitting. I know. I personally love gift knitting. I give typically my mom something handmade every year, probably since I could make things. I have a list of some gift knitting ideas, and for the most part, I have made every single one of these, and I kind of put them into time categories as well. My goal with this was you would be able to knit these in like basically one day. There is one project on the list that I myself have not knit in one day, but I have knit it in a week. Pretty sure I'd have to look back. I've made it a couple times, but anyway, we'll get into it. If you're curious about the tea I'm drinking, it is Santa's Secret, I feel like OG favorite of the knitting community 5, 6, 10 years ago. Before I get too far, no, I did not knit this sweater. I found it on a clearance rack at I believe Rose in Remington, which is kind of like a boutique, but it's like a chain boutique. I don't know. I love this store. All right, let's get into it. So first thing are toys. I have not made this specific one, but it is on my to make list, and I have crocheted, I should say, I guess this is crochet, not knitting specifically. Amigurumi means like cute, small thing. There's like a real translation to this. I'll put it on the bottom of the screen. I kind of think of it as small objects with eyeballs on them. And I saw this person, Michael Chow, I might be mispronouncing that, but he has self-published quite a bunch of patterns on Amazon in little booklets. He's got maybe 3 of them, and I quite like this idea. Instead of, maybe he just isn't familiar with Ravelry or can't use Ravelry or what have you. So there are quite a few of these crocheted, specifically plants. And I grabbed this Cactus Garden edition. Yes, I could have probably figured these out, but it's the holiday season. I just want to follow a pattern. I don't want to think about how to create something. Thus, here's a book. I think I paid like $10 or $12 for this. I'll put the price of this as well, just so that you're aware. And specifically, almost all of these are very, very easy, quick to knit or crochet. But this one I think is gonna be the easiest because obviously you don't have to add faces to any of these. Is there a name? Okay, so it's just called Cactus, and it's hard, I don't wanna show you the pattern. Literally this, right? 4 colors. Do you crochet it all together? Yeah. You basically crochet it as one. So why not, right? That's gonna be so easy, so easy. These, I would say, if you're crocheting or you have to attach them, it might add a bit of time. But this, I would say you could finish a cactus in 2 hours. And I think you could probably even do it in 1, but I'm just gonna average it out and say 2 hours. My other toy suggestion, and if you've been on my channel for a while, this will not come as a surprise, and is Anna Paula Romoli. And specifically from Amigurumi World, Seriously Cute Crochet. You can buy her patterns on Etsy, and they're like $5 to $7, I believe, or you can buy the pattern books. I will promote the pattern books because I love pattern books. I love them so much. This is the book that got me to crochet. So I have the price on the back here. It's $18.95. I don't know if that's how much it still is, and Amazon kind of does discounts on books anyway, but I love this one, and I've crocheted almost everything out of here. What I would recommend are these guys, and I can basically pull the pages out because this book is destroyed. There is a story about that I've talked about in other videos, and I'm not going to do it right now. But these ones, these are smaller. They're about, I mean, they're a slightly bigger than what this picture shows, which there's my hand to help you with size references. They're so cute. The rabbit is the very first thing I ever made, and I would recommend I would recommend them all. Do I have one of them? I know. Oh yes. Do you like my sweatpants? I just didn't feel like putting on a good bottom. Here is a duck, and this is an example of one of them. So cute, so cute, so cute. I made this out of leftover yarn. And so you'll need polyfill, you'll need whatever, colors you want to use, and then you will need either safety eyes or just eyes that you can glue on. So when I was younger, I didn't quite have access to Amazon or online shopping because I did not have a credit card. I had a debit card, but I didn't have a computer. So I had to make do with what the craft store had. And my local craft store was Michael's. And also I have access to Walmart in my hometown. And I just struggled with safety eyes. So if you, for whatever reason, don't want to buy them online, what I actually ended up doing was I bought polymer clay, just black, and I just rolled them into balls, cut them in half to make my own eyeballs. And then I glued them on. So that's an option as well, but bear in mind, if you're gifting this to a child, maybe not do that because choking hazards. So also another suggestion with these, and I can just show you Oddish. I love how small these are, but you can make them even smaller by crocheting them with DMC, and then they're tiny and you can use them as keychains. So you can make keychains out of anything that's in here, Now it is very fiddly because you're crocheting with super, super tiny crochet hooks. I don't even know what size. I just inherited some from my mom. She used to make doilies and like those crocheted roughly curtain things, and so her crochet hooks were really, really small. So I have a couple of those, and I made this pattern up. My favorite Pokemon is Oddish. I know, I don't need it. I love Oddish. Just the cutest little Pokemon that exists ever. So I just used DMC thread, and then I used a bead and just attached the bead, and then felt. I glued the felt on. So if you're kind of envisioning this, you could make a duck out of DMC and it would be like this size. The little feet are gonna be very annoying, but it comes out so cute. So suggestions with toys. You can make these for adults. You can use them as name tags on your gifts. You could even, if you wanted to, you could make them into earrings. Yeah, I love how tiny they are with the DMC thread. I have made the penguin specifically in DMC and used it as a keychain for a friend who was obsessed with penguins. Next category is headbands. If you have seen any of my other episodes, you will definitely recognize this headband right here. I love this headband and recommend this so often. I have made two. This one's for myself, and then I made another one for my brother's now fiance. And oh, it's so cute. This is the Snowdrop Headband by Along Avec Anna, who is a designer, as well as she has her own yarn now. So I do want to get some of her yarn just to support her, but this pattern is free, so get it. It's so good. She's also come out with a hat pattern and a cardigan pattern, of which I've purchased so that I can eventually make the cardigan, but it's so lovely. I used Fiber Spade's Cumulus and Kelburn Woolen's Camper, one skein of each, and then I ended up using about a third of the Cumulus, which is the Surrey, and then half of the Kelburn Woolen's Camper. So you can make 2 headbands out of it and still have enough of the Surrey that you could combine it with another yarn to make a third headband. So, I mean, really economical, and I think the end result is beautiful. And this took only a couple hours to make. Such a good gift. I'll put it on, even though my hair is up. And there it is. All that fluff. It looks so good. It fits so nice. I've recommended this pattern so often, and I'll do it again. And I just got lipstick on my sweater. Great. Another headband that I have also made, but I made this many years ago for craft shows, and so I don't have it with me anymore. And I've got notes here, so that's why I'm looking away. This is the Braided, it's just called Braided by Jen Geigley Knits. She was super popular in like the early 2010s. She had the Gaptastic cowl, which sat on the like top 10 on Ravelry for so long. I have made that cowl. And Braided also was up there for a really long time. And I don't know if this one was because it was like, it's cute, and I'll have a picture of it since I don't have a picture of it to show you. I wonder if this was also inspired by a ready-made version. So the Gaptastic cowl was inspired by a cowl that was in Gap. Makes sense. So maybe Braided was also inspired by something, but either way, it is a simple headband that has a braided look to it. Now, oh, and this one you would use bulky weight yarn. I used what she recommended, which is Loops and Threads Charisma, and that yarn you can get from Michaels. I have a lot of it. Looking to see if I have any of it right in view. No, but I have some in my craft closet. This is an acrylic yarn. It's affordable, it goes on sale a lot, and you can, I don't think you can make 2 headbands. You can absolutely make 1, but you're gonna have some left over, but I don't think it was enough to make another one. But again, depending on the size of your head. So this pattern, there is a free version and then there is a $2 version. So I believe the free version has ads with it. I'm not totally sure, because when I bought the pattern, it was only free. There was no $2 version of it. So I'm not sure what the difference between the two is. This is an old pattern. There are tons of versions, or tons of projects made out of the pattern, and it's a headband. They're fast, they're easy, and they're great for winter. Next section is hats. And I had to narrow this guy down. I have a lot of recommendations for hats because when I was in high school and college, and a little bit after college, I did craft shows, and a big thing that I would make at craft shows, other than scarves, were hats. And I also do a lot of hat knitting for donation. So hats are something that have made a ton of, and I really needed to narrow it down, and I wanted to keep it to old patterns that may have been overlooked or were hugely popular many years ago and not so popular anymore. Also, again, I have a ton of books. I want to showcase some of these. So the first one I want to bring to your attention is the Hallis Column Stitch Cap by Jared Flood. It's for Brooklyn Tweed. I have the pattern booklet because my local yarn store in Dayton, Strings Attached, was going out of business, and all of the patterns were $1, which was such a deal. I have knit this pattern twice, and here is my version, and I actually need to undo it and knit it again because I knit this too big. This is way too big of a hat for my head, so I need to drop down some needle sizes. You can't really, there you go, so you can see it. And I also knit a version for my mom, and this uses Brooklyn Tweed Quarry, which is a chunky, bulky weight. It's 200 yards for 100 grams, and I have this much left over from that hat. Again, it's gray, you can't really see it. And for my mom's, I have a bit more left over. This is so quick and easy to knit, and it's really fun because the stitch pattern that you're doing here, these columns you do at the end. So you drop your stitches, so you're knitting and knitting, and then you drop the stitches, so they drop all the way down here, and then you pick them back up in a specific way to do that column. My goal or plan, once I redo this, is to add this at the top as the pom-pom, and I can't wait. So you don't have to use Corey. You can use any bulky yarn that you want. The Corey does lend itself really nice to this. You can buy this pattern on Ravelry for $7.50. The hard copy that I have says it was $9 at my yarn store, but like I said, I bought it for $1. I think it's really pretty. I think $9 is a lot of money for this pattern. But I really, really like this. And if you see it on sale or wherever, I would get it. It makes for a great gift knit or knit for yourself. Another hat that I have made numerous times, and unfortunately I don't have one to show you because I have lost mine and I need to re-knit it. I probably made this hat 5 times. I've made it for both of my brothers, myself, and a couple for craft shows. So I've knit it at least 5 times, and that is the Urban Trekker by Vladimir Teryakin. Unfortunately, you can only get this pattern in this book, which is Lion Brand Yarns Just Hats. This came out many, many, many years ago. 2005, that's right. I got this when I was in high school still. I love this book. I have knit so many hats out of this book. It was originally $12. You could check on Amazon if they still have it. Unfortunately, you can't get any of these patterns individually. Some of these patterns are not great, but some of them are, I really like. So I'm not going to go through every single one. That's not the point of this video, but maybe someday I'll do a video of the pattern books I have. I love this hat. What's interesting about it is you start with the crown and you knit down. You knit it with bulky yarn, but I've always knitted with worsted. I started knitting many years ago, and this is one of the books that I knit a lot of those patterns, and I did not understand gauge, and so I just picked a yarn that I thought looked like the same yarn and would just knit it. And so I knit worsted with the needle size that they recommend, which makes my hats interesting because I already knit really loose and I'm knitting with thinner yarn. The hats fit fine, but they were definitely gappy. Anyway, I love this hat. Like I said, I've made it out of worsted. It's technically out of a bulky. Big fan. This one, even though it looks like it would be kind of time consuming, it wasn't. I distinctly remember casting this hat on in the morning on my bed during Christmas break and finishing it before going downstairs for dinner. Now, I didn't finish the pom-poms, but I knit the entire thing in a day. So would recommend that guy. And then lastly, another hat in the hat category comes out of this book, Weekend Hats, 25 Knitted Cap Sprays, Close and More. This is from Interweave. It is $22.95 on the ISBN. So who knows if that's still the price. This has a lot of great hats and it's designed for, you know, making it really quick, although most hats are. The hat specifically in here, which I didn't realize, I have knit, and it is called The Wanderer Cap by Jared Flood. Didn't realize that both of those hats were by the same designer until I wrote the list down. I love this hat, and it's got a really cool design feature. I have made this hat not out of the recommended yarn, which is Brooklyn Tweed Shelter, which is a worsted weight. I used Vanna's Choice, both solid, and I have used Vanna's Choice in the tweed. And I only needed to use one skein when I have made this hat. Now, looking at it, you can see it is quite short. It is just like a cap. There's no folded brim or anything like that. If you wanted to extend it, you know, bear that in mind. You would need more yarn. I love it. I think it looks good. I think it's unisex. I love that they have a dude model for it because, you know, we're not always knitting for ladies. So love that. You can you purchase this? I don't think you, so if I remember, you can buy either this book or it was an Interweave magazine. So you would have to search for this book. Now, again, look at your local library. Your library might have these editions because they are older. You could also check half price books. When did this one came out? A little bit after the Lion Brand one, but it's still older. 2011. So just, I was also still in college. I think I did buy this in college. So my last recommendation is the one that you would not be able to finish in one day, I don't think. And it is a shawl scarf. I needed to add one in the list, and that is the Nurmalintu. Nurmalintu is by Heidi Allender. It is a free pattern, and mine specifically used Manos del Uruguay Fino, which is like a light fingering. I used almost all of it. I had a little bit left over, but for the most part I used all of it. It is quite long. I love this shawl. Well, I shouldn't say I don't know why, but I love the shape of it. I love how long it is, and when I wrap it around, I can still make it loose and have tails. I also can tie the tail underneath the scarf which is something I do quite often. So then you don't really see it, but you know, there they are. Monosto Uruguay Fino is so soft. With the change in price in yarn, so I bought this in 2014 or 2015, and I spent $30 something on it. And then the last time I checked, Monosto Uruguay Fino is sitting at the high 30s. In some places it's 40. So this is definitely a not affordable yarn. That is definitely pretty pricey, but this shawl is gorgeous and it's so easy. You know, you're kind of knitting on the bias. You've got 3 sections of lace and then the rest is garter. It's so simple. It's very simple lace. You could keep going as long as you want on the bottom. You know, you could add more lace repeats if you wanted. You would just have to make sure that you're starting with a specific amount of stitches. You could add tassels if you wanted to. You could just leave it like this, like how I did mine. I've made this for my boss as a Christmas gift, and it's simple, it's quick. I recommend it. I love it. And this used to be a really, really popular pattern. There are a ton of projects for this. So you can see, check out recommended yarn. You know, if you don't, obviously you don't have to use what I use, just use fingering weight, or honestly use whatever you want. You could make it as a bulky weight. You could do worsted, you know, just change the size of your shawl. But I love it. I think it's fantastic and definitely a great gift. Great, quick, easy gift that has a gorgeous payoff to it. And my last recommendation is, you know, if you're really wanting to give someone a gift and you have a skein of yarn or 2 skeins and you really don't know what to do and you're knitting for a non-knitter, I guess, just make a garter scarf. I don't know, like, so many podcasters that I listen or people that knit are like, it's so boring to just make a garter, or scarves are so boring. I knit garter scarves for probably 5 years before I moved on to something, which may sound boring to you, but I think that is the reason why my knitting is so even. Garter stitch scarves, yes, maybe they're boring. I don't think they're that boring. You know, maybe don't make them super skinny. I think this, you know, this is probably 15 years old. Maybe even, no, not 20. I'd say it's 15 years old, this scarf here. So skinnier scarves were more in style back then. You know, make it a bit wider, skinny and long. I still like long scarves, but not as skinny. And it's so easy, it's so mindless. You could add tassels to the end of it if you want something, but this is just your reminder. You can knit a gartered scarf. That's totally fine. People love scarves. And there's no thought with this, right? You know, just cast on 30 stitches, see if that's the width you want, knit a bit. If you don't like it, undo it. You know, there's not a lot of thought in these. And with that, those are some recommendations for holiday knits, quick gift knits. And I wanted to get this video out before December so that you had a little bit of time if any of these projects give you inspiration, spark your imagination, whatever. And yeah, so with that, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, give it a thumbs up or heart or whatever. Subscribe if you would like to, but you never have to. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.